guys. So, wanted to do another video on this just the bear sentiment out there on the market and on Twitter, especially, just continues. I feel the more I log on, the more I see people canceling alt season. That's not going to happen. This time's different stuff like that. So even though I addressed it last week, we'll talk about it a little bit more. And right now, Bitcoin, check out the daily close. Should be closing here shortly, about 25 minutes. And and this is more or less what I expected to see. I was hoping we would get a good follow through candle after this. If we got a good follow through candle after this bull bar here with a long wick that engulfed the previous candle, outside bar, bullish engulfing. If we would have got, just say, a little candle, just even even just a little candle, like say like that, even if it had maybe just little wick on the top and even one like that on the bottom and a bull candle like that, then I would be thinking, okay, this might be the leg that comes up here to the top of the range and breaks through 106 and it takes us elsewhere. But it's not what we got. You got immediate selling and a decent size body on that. And V-shaped recoveries are rare. Retail is always scared about a V-shaped recovery. You should always bet against a V-shaped recovery because it's the same kind of psychology that we talk about a lot with people trading and stuff like that. When you get this, a lot of people probably start trying to jump in long positions and stuff like that. And market makers, they're going to want to clear that out and keep frustrating people until they stop doing that. And then they take the market up. That's more or less what normally happens. So I think it would have been great if we got a good follow through candle after that. And then I thought maybe we're going up, but I would expect for the time being to continue to range, probably even some sideways to down. I don't know. I'm going to talk about BTC because some people are calling for 70K. I'm going to talk about that a little later in the stream. But just for right now, I think I don't see it going below this wick in the short term. We'll have to see how the price action unfolds. But for right now, I would expect probably sideways to down. And so talking about, getting back to altcoin season a little bit. 1 second. So Rhett Capital, he's an OG in the space, he's pretty good. I think he's a respectable person out there. He made this post about Bitcoin dominance, and if history repeats, it rejects at 71%, and that sparks alt season or something like that. So I have a lot of respect for him and everything like that, but I'd have to respectfully disagree with him on this point here. So let's take a look at BTC dominance. I'm gonna zoom way out on the monthly. So we go back and look at these dates and where he had marked these places out on the chart as well. So let's look at that first. Let's look at where he has it, where it rejects offset. Well, actually, we don't even have to do that. We'll just make a line at 70K or 70%, and we'll see where the rejections were. Something like that. So this one, for example, December 17th or December 2017, that did not start an altcoin season. Because he was kind of saying BTC might need to come up to 70% and reject, and that might start the altcoin season. I don't think, in my opinion, right now, we're seeing everything. I don't think BTC dominance is going to get up to 70%. It's a totally different market structure this cycle for ETH and for Total 3 than what we've seen in the past. So this right here, December 17th, 2017, the cycle was almost over at that point. If we go to Total 3, so December 17th, look, the high was basically in for Total 3. So January 18th, the next month, is when it started going down. So it's like BTC dominance going up and Total 3 kind of coincided on that point. The alt season was already going on here. And when that rejection off the BTC dominance 70% was here, at the end of it. Let's look at another one where it got rejected off that. So here, this was the bear market rally that went up a bit. I'm gonna talk about that when I look at BTC in a minute. Um, so that didn't spark any kind of alts went down after this. I'm quite sure that didn't spark any kind of alt season rally. Now here, sure, that started some alt rally, but that's just one time. So that was kind of like the high from last cycle, but it made a lower high from the previous cycle because I still consider this up here the high. So I would expect it to make a lower high this cycle as well. And I just don't, it's, I say it a lot, it's not a tradable asset, but it still seems to respect technical analysis. If I had to call it anything, I'd call it a tight bull channel like that. The odds of a tight bull channel to break out to the upside or low. That normally doesn't happen. So, I mean, it could get up there if it just follows in this channel, but now you're talking about that's a long time out. I mean, for the channel to get up here, you're talking, look at the time. I mean, you're talking about next year, first Q1 of next year. So I don't know. It's not that it can't hit 70%. I'm just not, my opinion. I don't see that. And I don't really see how the past data correlates to 70% and necessarily BTC dominance going down. I think that, let's see how the monthly goes. Let's check out the weekly so far. Yeah, it's pretty bearish candle. I mean, it's a fairly long wick, especially for this chart. Look over here. You don't see lots of prominent wicks. Like that's probably the biggest one, but you don't see lots of wicks on this, not long ones anyway. And look, we're going back to 2021 here. So it's not common to get that. So hopefully this could be the top end for BTC dominance. I don't know that for sure, but it's possible. Let's see what unfolds over the next week or two. On the daily, you got the wick down, and we haven't gotten it to reject and continue down yet, but it's also not really going up too much. What's up, Raven? Josh, big medicator. Frank, what's up, man? Danny the Bull caught the stream today, most of it anyway. Yeah, actually, I caught the whole thing. Great stream, good base stuff like always, Danny. And talked about some of the points that I was going to bring up, even some of the fundamental points about alt season. But yeah, so as far as BTC dominance goes, it can be a hard chart to read. I still see it as being in that bull channel on the way up, and that the odds are if something's in a tight bull channel, it's a 75% chance that it breaks to the downside or sideways at best. So I'm still expecting that to break out, and hopefully this is the high. That's what I think it's possible. I think this is possible that this is the high in BTC dominance. Total 3. It's a similar chart to BTC dominance where it's not tradable, can be a little harder to read. Long wick to the downside. So this is the area we had drawn in, showing that like the wick touched this gap. When you look at to the left, I may have drawn this on the weekly. Yeah, there we go. Okay, yeah. So looking at this high over here, it left this gap, and the wick came down and went below that, but it wicked right up. And we all know this is the biggest liquidation event in crypto history, which is hard to believe. So I just don't. I don't know. I have a hard time thinking that after the biggest liquidation event in crypto history that it's going to go down unless it marks some kind of obvious top. An obvious top would not be a wick to the upside. It would be a long wick to the downside. Which I know that doesn't really line up with a liquidation event. Well, I mean, I guess it could, but it is surprising that more money was liquidated here than the FTX crash or Luna crash or any other time in history. But it still just doesn't coincide with what looks like a top to me. Total 3. If we look how it did in previous cycles, something I wanted to look at and show. All right, this is the weekly. So if we put the chart like here, okay, February 2021. All right, and we can see how this looks. Nice little uptrend. total three doing all right. And this is where we were 4 years ago. All right. So then we know we pull the chart this way and look, I mean, it can still go up a lot, and I feel that the differences from this market cycle and the last market cycle, that this one looks much healthier. And I'm gonna talk about that some when I will talk about BTC. But even here, it's just like lots and lots of green candles. They keep going up. Eventually, it's gonna have to go down. The faster it goes up like that, not creating ranging periods and other market structure, the easier that it'll go down. And this cycle, you haven't really seen that. It's like it's just getting started almost when you zoom out and look at it from this standpoint. And this was when we kind of came out of the basement and had this alt rally where some people are saying, well, this was the top stuff for alts. This was before the halving. It just, these things just don't add up and make sense to me. I even made a thread about this today. Whoops. Yeah, where some of these things just don't add up. Like what I just pointed out. If this cycle is different, then it's different in so many ways that it's so far out. It's not even like it. These things don't always repeat, but they commonly rhyme. If this cycle is over, or we saw the top for alts and stuff like that, then it's a whole different animal. It's not even nothing coincides. And that's why it's just too much of a change for me to get on. And that's part of when we're going to look at some other top indicators and stuff like that. And it's just, if none of these things happen, then you truly never had a chance buying alts, if that is really a top. And the real reason I think that we'll have an alt season is just too much money in these alts. These powers that be in these big entities in crypto, why would they not want an alt season? And we know these people that run the, Binance and CZ and all these people like that, they're the ones that run the market. Why would they not want an alt season? I can't imagine why they would not want that. And BTC above all-time highs is not what gets normies in the market. It's this tech jargon and what seems like the wave of the future and all these kinds of things. That's what gets them in the market. And then once the normies get here, they have to make some money. And I say that sometimes on stream, but you have to think about how they think about it, because this stuff's new to them. And then these things get gains and like, oh my gosh. And they're not coming to the market off top with $10, $20, $30,000. That's not how they do it. They're going to come with a few hundred. And then they're going to be like, oh my gosh, it went up, whatever, I tripled my money in like 10 days. Like, this is crazy. Why did I only put a few $100s? I should have put 10,000. I would have 30,000. I should put 30,000. Then I'd have 100,000. Where can I get that money? I can get it out my 401k. I can mortgage my house. I can sell my car and downgrade that. That's what happens every cycle. And that made me remind something. I wanted to read something on this stream, and it's in a book over there. I might I'll go get it though at the end of the stream. So I just there's a lot of things that we're talking about for all season. And for total three, back to total three, it's not a real strong indication either way. Like it's not like I think, okay, yeah, it's about to take off and go up. I also don't think it's about to take off and go down. It went up, nice leg up. Now we're ranging. You got this wick down. We all know what happened, recently. Hopefully this will be the low for total three. But if now this candle was on its low and it closed down here on its low below these over here, that would be concerning. That would be concerning. Definitely. I'm not a perma bull. So don't bet on V-shaped recoveries though. I know that they can happen, but they're rare. When it comes to Bitcoin's lows, the only V-shaped recovery in its history was the COVID low, which was kind of an outlier. Some people consider it a black swan. One other chart I want to look at is ETH versus BTC. Looks beautiful here to learn, Ron. Well, I'm gonna try to put it out. I'm not the most, I'll be honest. I'm a pretty smart guy, but I'm pretty boring with these videos. Most YouTubers a lot more entertaining than I am. I'm not the most engaging and stuff like that, but I tell it like it is. So ETH BTC. Let's look at this on the monthly. Let's zoom way out on this. All right. So remember when we were looking at BTC dominance, and I was talking about just ETH was a totally different market structure this cycle than last cycle. All right. So this was January. So this was like January 18. Like this was the high of the market right here. ETH came down a lot with the valuation versus BTC to find its bottom. And this time right here, where you're seeing right here, kind of like this 2019 summer, Bitcoin was going way up. And we're going to look at that. We're going to relate this to Bitcoin as well. But if we look at where we were in the cycle last time, this was the close for February. So it is a 10, not even a 10% difference, 7.7% difference in value on the BTC ETH valuation of where we were last cycle. But this is what I'm saying. Like it had to come up to get that because it bled so bad against BTC. And I think this relates to what I'm going to look at when I look at the BTC chart. So the whole bear market, I know this sounds funny to say, but ETH held its value against BTC really well. I mean, this is the bear market. Look, this is January 22. Look at the FTX crash. November 22. This is the FTX crash. And if you look at the previous bear market, let's see, that was 22. So like 18 or something like so around here. That's where it was in relation to BTC. And then BTC had that bear market rally, and this is where you see it like really lose value against it. So if we look at where the bottom came here, it didn't even come down. It's a little higher than what we saw over here, which was the bottom before altcoin season really started from the last cycle. Now we had a better January. This was the January candle, great candle. But just because we didn't get a great January, that doesn't really mean anything. Like all these things can be fairly relative. Like the last cycle, technically, if you base it off previous cycles, extend it by a month. So, anything within, I say, a 60-day kind of period for matching within cycles, I think is close enough. So, and I just wanted to point this out. I hope everybody kind of follows. Like ETH was a totally different structure from last cycle to this cycle. So it kind of doesn't surprise me in this sense that it had to come down like this. And hopefully this is the low and it marks this bottom here, which is what the low was before we got the alt season last cycle. So from that standpoint, I don't really see anything that's changed too much. There's some people out there though. There's some smart people out there who feel like we're going to 70K, and we're going to look at that. So this is Arthur Hayes right here. He's a big name in crypto. He said I think he's posted this on like the 28th or something. He said he's calling for 70K. And then he said, he's not like a bear. He says, then he thinks that we're going to go to 250 by the end of the year. And if I had to put a market cycle price out there, I've said 230 is where I think it can go. So, he's not being like a perma bear or anything with this. That's just what he's saying. And if anybody didn't know who he is, he's got a ton of followers, almost 1 million, and co-founder of BitMEX and whatever. So he's not some clown. He knows the game. He knows what he's talking about, and that's his opinion, and that's cool. And anything is always possible. I wouldn't say that it's out of the question, but when I look at it, I think that the weekly is the best chart to look at on Bitcoin. Now the monthly looks good still. This was a bullish outside bar, and we want continuation. The monthly still has a long way to close. If this ends up like a wick and a green bar, then that would be good. If the green bar closes up here, then that's really good. But I do think the weekly is the best chart to look at for Bitcoin. And, we're just in this range. So now here's the thing. So like If we consolidate at the bottom of this range and then get a breakout candle closing on its low on higher time frames, weekly's better confirmation, but if it looks bad enough on the daily, you can use that. So Bitcoin didn't make any real market structure from, say, with this, say, when the bottom of this range is to say like here. So we're like 73 over here. So when it goes up fast like that, it doesn't build any price history. And think, Bitcoin has never been here before. This was in price discovery. So if it loses this level, it will go down quick. Don't expect it to hang around in the 80s for too long if it breaks in there into the 80s, because it doesn't have any price history there. I mean, even if we look at on the daily, in this level, it was just green bars, and this, the breakout, close above structure, the follow through bar right there. That's when you got a good idea. Probabilities are high that it's going up. And you got, big candles, which is great. But when it doesn't build market structure and price history, as fast as it went up, when it goes back in there, it can go down just that fast. So right now, I think everything looks, I think it looks great. I think everything looks fine with BTC. And that's the thing. As long as BTC is intact for the market cycle, then I'm not worried about not getting an altcoin season, to be honest with you. We know BTC is the leading indicator of this market. Now, if it comes down here to 70K, what then? Are we going to have off season and stuff like that? We'll just have to see how the candles look. I can't really project that out for something that hasn't even happened yet, and what the move would look like and such things like that. I think if we break out of here and get the leg up, I think there's a good chance BTC doesn't go below 70,000 maybe ever again. And that's some of the things I talked about in videos with like the projecting 230 and some other price targets, if you want to check out why I said that. So if we zoom out more on how some of these things, try to explain this or remember the things we talked about. So here, here, bear market rally 2019. All right. Look, parabolic leg up. I mean, just straight up. It went up. Say this candle is where it started in this decent bull candle here. It was over 300%, 310%. And that was only in 20 weeks. We're on the weekly here, 20 bars. I mean, we ranged over here for well longer than that, right? Yeah, 31 bars, depending, you come all the way out here and say 33 bars. So this move was like really violent and really parabolic up, and we can call it a bear market rally, whatever. Then long ranging period. If COVID hadn't happened, who knows if we would have got this dump. I almost look at it as like an outlier. So I kind of feel, because these things rhyme, they don't ever repeat, and people, they seem to have the last market cycle in their mind, and that's what they're expecting to happen this time. Because after the XTF crash and things went up, people were still expecting for 15K, 12K, something like that. They said it's got a double bottom, and it doesn't have a double bottom. And I bought, sometimes I say, I bought this, I bought that, I call that. Well, I mean, it is what it is. Right here at the bottom of this wick, I bought that too. And when it formed that wick, I was like, this can be an inverse head and shoulders. It doesn't have to be a double bottom. It just needs some kind of pattern or something for traders and market analysts to go off of. And when it made this, and I like the reversal here, I like the price action I was seeing locally or whatever. That's why I thought it was making a low. And then when it wicked up and closed on the weekly, it looked like it could be the right shoulder of a head and shoulders. And I feel that's what got us out of the market. But anyway, I kind of feel like this bear market rally leg here is really this move up here that we got in October 2023. Now, this isn't the exact time, but you go back 4 years in the past, 2019, that's when that bear market rally was. And I thought when we broke out of here and we're like, got this candle and stuff, that we might get a bear market rally up to 50K, and then we could just as likely come back to 20K or something like that. But it didn't do that. And the reason I'm trying to explain it like this is because we got such great ranging periods in the market. And you want that. It's boring. It's terrible. It sucks. I get all that, but it's really good for it. So we got such a long ranging period here. So I almost look at this as the bear market rally in a sense. like I said, these things rhyme. And then you got this long ranging period here. I think this is kind of what we saw here after that rally. And you throw the COVID low in there, but like I said, it's not the exact. I think that it rhymes. So I think that like this cycle hasn't even hardly got started yet. If we go back and look at 2017, this is a Bitcoin index chart. I got a lot of things written up here. But it's kind of like what I had done earlier with total 3. If we look at where we were in the cycle at okay, close enough. February 17. All right, it's a 17 cycle. So this is what the price of Bitcoin. I mean, it's got some legs up, like we've had now, some decent legs up. Now watch as we unfold the chart and watch what happened with Bitcoin. I mean, it went crazy parabolic. And I'm not saying it's going to be 2017, but myself and lots of other, not the first time you guys heard this, that this cycle seems to mimic 2017 more. But I still see a lot of people saying they want to sell everything within the next couple of months. Sell in May and go away. Sometimes people say that, but they want the altcoin season to go ahead, happen, be done with, get rid of their bags and be done with this. And trust me, I do too. But what I want and what will likely happen are two different things. And I think too many people are saying that because they got last cycle stuck in their head. And when we're already saying that we think this cycle was closer to 2017, then I don't expect the same thing to pan out that will happen last cycle where we get, a parabolic run up. Then it chops 50%, and then we get a weak double top to that same level. That's not what I'm seeing here. That's not what I'm seeing here at all. We haven't got a parabolic move up, not really. This was a fairly good move here, these right here, but that's not what you saw over here on this leg up from last cycle, or even from 2017. But if you look at 2017, it is a healthier move. It's more like a small pullback bull trend. And you want these ranging periods in the market because say, all right, Bitcoin here is 65, 70K or something like that. A lot of traders bought this breakout right here. When this candle, I guarantee you a lot did. A lot bought this here, this breakout. All right, people who are traders, they don't give a shit about the ETFs, the market cycle, country adoption. They go to work, so to speak, every day at their computer, and they're going to extract money out of whatever market they can. They're trading, and that's who really runs the market because they're the ones active buying and selling all the time. So, say these people that I'm referencing right here, all right, during this long period, they're eventually going to get bored or they use their money for something else. So they take profit on here. So now new people, new market participants get in, and this is their entry. So think of these people that bought this breakout right here, start selling up here or 120 and stuff like that. It's going to have a lot more market impact. So now changing hands of these people in here, they're looking at a 2x or something like that. That's 120K thereabouts. So their market impact is going to be significantly less than had it not ranged for a period, hadn't changed hands as much, and then a lot of those people were still holding it. Because we got a decent ranging period here, but the longer the ranging period, the better. And I would be happy. I know this sounds crazy, but if we ranged for this long again, that might be too far into the cycle. But a good long ranging period is good because we want people to like, and it lulls them to sleep. And back to the point I was saying about a lot of people I'm seeing saying that it's like they want to sell their bags, get out of them, and think the market cycle is going to top early. And that goes back to a lot of people thought the cycle was going early with the ETFs, and we got an all-time high before the halving and stuff like that. And I was hearing a lot of talk about like we're getting an early cycle or whatever. And instead of looking at that as an early cycle, if you look at it as like that was a bear market rally, like I had pointed out, that this leg over here is really more of what happened here. And like I said, these things rhyme. They're not exact. But if you look at it like that it was more like a later bear market rally that was a few months later than the previous one. Well, it adds up a lot more that this was the bear market rally, and you got a long ranging period like you got over here when you got the COVID low. We just didn't have some kind of black swan event, but even the COVID low market recovered quick. I mean, it wasn't that for something like that. I mean, it was after that big bad candle with the long wick, it was all up after that. So we didn't get an event like that. But the fact that it ranged for a long time, it's almost just as good that it ranged for so long, changed hands. That's why I kind of think, like I'm saying, I think this was kind of like the extension of the bear market rally, not an early cycle. So if the bear market rally was a little bit later, and Bitcoin's had those at every market cycle, then I think the cycle could actually get extended a little bit. I'm not calling for like totally overhaul different, but like I said, technically it was like a month longer last time. So just say it was 2 months longer or a month longer than last cycle. That would be like 2 months from the traditional one. And that would put us like late 2025, early 2026, because this game is extremely tough psychological. Do I want to hold these alt bags for another year? No, I don't. But I'm also not going to cheat out early. If I, all fear and stuff like that, I'm going to do what I think is right and what looks right to me. And I think this cycle could be monstrous. I think it could be huge. I think it could be really big. I think that it may have not even really gotten started yet. I mean, I don't have any preconceived notions. I'm not saying I'm going to wait till the end of 2025, beginning of 2026 and so everything. I don't have any preconceived notions, but off of how I look at things and stuff, I think that the cycle really hasn't even gotten started yet, and that the price action has been really healthy as we went up. Long ranging period after this kind of leg up off the bottom. Long ranging period, decent leg up, ranging period. This is where the ETFs got approved. Then a good leg up, long ranging period. Now we're getting a decent leg up, pretty long ranging period. That's the best, healthiest uptrend you can have. Like legs up, breakouts, and then ranging periods. Either that or small pullback bull trend, which is kind of like what we saw in 2017, where it's just a steady kind of uptrend. But it's a similar concept where you're not getting like the parabolic gains. Like the pullbacks normally get bought pretty quick. So you have red candles in a small pullback bull trend, but they get bought up pretty quick. And then if you look at the top of the market in 2017, it was a blow off top. It did not stay at 20K long at all. It went up there and then, bam, right down. So these market cycles are similar, but different in a lot of ways as well. Hi, Ron, is OMI done? Well, I try not to talk about OMI too much because people get upset about it if I don't say that it's great. But I'll give it a look real quick. And I think I've said this on a stream before. It's now, so locally, this is the weekly. So, I mean, it could be, double bottom here. That looks pretty good. That's kind of what you want to see. But when it comes to OMI, for me, it's not even these things that people talk about, the FUD and David, you said this or didn't do that or sold this. For me, all that doesn't really matter too much. The way I assess projects, for one, OMI doesn't really make it out of the first couple of checks for me. I try to get things in the first market cycle predominantly in the first market cycle. And then I largely go off of narrative. So, I'm looking at AI projects, I'm looking at gaming projects, I'm looking at RWA projects. Also by change, I'm also looking at, the top projects and those narratives on Solana, on Base, whatever. So OMI, it's in a second market cycle. Then that doesn't mean that I won't touch something in a second market cycle. I got Naka and Rio, but those are flagship like projects within the major sectors. So like if I was going to classify OMI as like an NFT coin, I'm not looking for any NFT coins. Chili's, Ape, none of that does good. So I don't think it's inherently that OMI is shit. Like these NFT coins just aren't doing good. I think if they did I still think, that they got some things going for them. and most people invest in it because of the IP, but IP hasn't really shown to translate to gains in crypto, because you got to think these big licensors, they want to get paid off this stuff. They're not doing all this so for you to get money. They're doing it for them to get money. So maybe they do some things and stuff like that. I mean, if they just had a game, then we could call it gaming, and then I might could get with it and give it a better look. But those are kind of my general thoughts on Omi. But on chart, hey, hopefully it's forming a double bottom here. I mean, the leg down is kind of rangy, so this could be a good bottom here from Omi. If you believe in it, let's see where the weekly closes, and if it closed like this right now and you like it, I would say, maybe DCA it. Like, don't buy all your funds that you wanted to buy it with, but you can start buying it there. So hopefully I don't get too much hateful tweets about saying that, because I don't say anything bad about Omi. I'm just keeping it honest. Also had a big dump in May after alts. Yeah, I mean, they say sell in May and go away. They say that for a reason. Let's see what Bitcoin did. I have to go to the index chart. 2017 in May. And the 2017 price action on the way up was hard to read. So yeah, May was actually a good month. May into June, and then in June after May, it had a pretty decent leg down here. And look, if I saw this candle, I might be like, yeah, the cycle's over, or you may want to start scaling out of everything. Then immediately, big bullish candle. Once again, this candle, this bearish outside bar engulfing, not a good look. That could have been a signal for the end of the cycle, but it kept going up. The 2017 cycle, when I look back at it, like it was hard to read on chart. Even this right here, this was kind of bearish. But anyway, you see, you don't have like these long ranging periods like this. If you want to call it a ranging period, this, I mean, they're real small. It's more like a parabolic slow trend up the entire cycle. Yeah, it's hard for us. Yeah, I don't have any. I'm dead on the inside. I've been doing this so long. Yeah, man, I think that it's possible. I really think that it's possible. There's going to be a monster bull run. I think some people say like we're not going to get altcoin season if we don't have quantitative easing. We did get that last cycle, but in 2017 we didn't. And some people say, well, that was a cycle of adoption, so that's why that cycle did better. Well, I think this cycle could be both. I think that it can be an adoption cycle, and I mean, I think you're already seeing that. I mean, with the ETFs and everything like that, I think that this is an adoption cycle, and I think you're going to get quantitative easing this year too. I know that the percentage, the odds for rate cuts next FOMC in March are 83% for no rate cut. I might even bet on Polymorph against that, because I think that Trump, he ends up getting his way somehow. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past him to blackmail Jerome Powell or something like that to make sure he cuts rates if that's what he wants, because Trump wants rates cut. I think that's clear that Trump definitely wants rates cut. So we'll see. But I mean, rate cuts obviously can be good, but we know that they're going to be rate cuts this year, even from Powell's, if you want to call it, his bearish FOMC in December. He still said we'll have 1 or 2 rate cuts the following year. So if 1 to 2 becomes 2 to 3 or 3 to 4, then it definitely be a party, most likely anyway. And then you got all this stuff politically, and I think it can take those things some time to play out. Now, once these things happen politically, assuming the Bitcoin strategic reserve or whatever legislation, those could mark tops. You want to keep in mind when these things happen, buy the rumor, sell the news, whatever like they say, when there's nothing else to look forward to in the cycle, and you just have a bunch of talking heads saying that, yeah, we still got another whatever to go, and this time and this adoption, blah, 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 don't buy into it. I think the legislation for the strategic Bitcoin reserve, I heard something about July 23rd or something like that, or maybe August 23rd. I had to look into that a little more. But if you do get some of these things happen in the market, that's when people are going to be like super bullish, euphoria, mania. We haven't seen any of that. If this was a bull market, a crypto bull market, it's the worst one ever, and then some. And it just doesn't line up with. And I'm not somebody that goes off the news, but you're going from an extremely anti-crypto administration to an extremely pro-crypto administration. And everybody, it's not just Trump, it's everyone he surrounds himself with in important cabinet positions. They all are cool with crypto. They want to give regulatory clarity. They want to bring crypto companies to the United States. All these things are just really good. So I'm not, even though I would love for things to go up parabolic through the spring and dump everything and be done with all this shit for the time being anyway, that's not really what I'm expecting to happen. And I'm expecting that I'm probably going to be still holding altcoins and some things like that later into the year. I'm not married to that idea, but I think that that's most likely what we'll see. So we just had a huge liquidation event on top of these things. And I'm saying, which is generally a bullish thing to go the other direction. We all know about Eric Trump's tweet talking about Ethereum. He actually edited the tweet too. He had said, "Thank me later." And then he edited it and took that part out. I guarantee you, if Hunter Biden had tweeted, "Sell Ethereum, thank me later," people would be selling it. They'd freak out. And I know negative news affects people more than positive news, but the fact that the president's son is saying buy Ethereum, and then we know that they're buying it in large amounts. Michael Saylor especially is a close personal friend of Eric Trump. So I don't know. It just seems like, that I love all this bearishness. I love it that people are like this. But that's not where I'm at all. Now, I don't put that we could come down to 70K out of the question. I did, and we looked at that. But we'll just have to see how that goes. Now, if you go to a Bitcoin Pro magazine website, they got all kinds of top indicators over here that you can check out. This is the Pi Cycle top. This is a popular one. It's nowhere even close. Matter of fact, if you zoom into this, where they wicked off of recently was the bottom moving average for this Pi cycle indicator. But you can play around with some of these over here. There is a ton of them. Here's a pretty good one. Addresses with 10 BTC. So you can see this is like lines up with 2017 high. These are the so the spike kind of lines up with 2017 high. Wasn't the same over here with these highs though, but in any event, it could still go up a long way. That's what kind of caught my eye about it to catch up with Bitcoin price. There's like MSRV, this over here too. Yeah. MVRV. I mean, that's a good one. A lot of people will look at, and that would indicate that we still have a long way to go. And like I said, you can see all these over here. There's a ton of these, and you can play around with them. I think if you pay for it, you can get better options for it or something like that. But anyway, been going for 45 minutes or something like that. I think I addressed all the main points that I wanted to. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and I will try to do a stream again in a few days. Later, guys.